Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? Me? Well, I've been complaining about being tired ever since I got back from Las Vegas. But we've now entered a whole new sphere. I went to see John Wick 4 last night. It was terrific, by the way. 2.5 hours of absolute rip-roaring, extremely violent fun. When I finally fell asleep, when I finally fell into bed last night, rather, I was convinced I would just fall asleep, but no. I now know pretty much every lump and bump on my bedroom ceiling. I could draw a map of it purely from memory. So here I am, 3 cups of coffee into my day, and I could fall asleep pretty much at any moment. However, I shall soldier on, not least because we've got some great content for you today, including some more hot takes from our trip to Las Vegas. We also have something a bit different to give away on today's show as well. We've done several hats of late. We've done wooden iPhone stands and various other bits and pieces. But today we have an Allu model. Do those bits move? No, I don't think they do. Yeah, an Allu model. And it was made by a previous guest on the show, Mr. Gaz Evans. As ever, the format of this competition is exactly the same. For your chance to win one of these models, just type the word Allu into the chat. That's ALLU. I even have a banner prepared just to remind you of that. There you are. Type Allu into the chat for your chance to be in with a shout of winning that. It's very good. Now, without further ado, let me roll the intro, post the question of the day, which is vaguely related to the film I went to see last night, and let's get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It is Wednesday, the 29th of March. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, we are unleashing the beast. We're heading back to the Las Vegas Convention Center to catch up with Kinshofer, and I'm pleased to say that 2 of their noble representatives, Ed Butler and Steve Williamson, are already in the chat. So good morning to you, gentlemen. We're enjoying a spa day. It'll make more sense when we get there. A spa day with Wirtgen. Plus, this is how maintenance vehicles should look. Good one, that one. We'll get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! And it's many happy returns to the 10th President of the United States, John Tyler. Who knew? And to antiques expert Arthur Negus. A happy birthday also to Walmart founder Sam Walton, politician and Maggie Thatcher enforcer Norman Tebbit, to a singer whose name has become shorthand for an Indian takeaway, Ruby Murray, and to former British Prime Minister John Major, to Seasons in the Sun singer Terry Jacks, Stranglers keyboardist Dave Greenfield, Irish actor Brendan Gleeson, Jane's Addiction singer Perry Farrell, to The Body, Elle Macpherson, and to French footballing wizard and former West Ham star Dimitri Payet. Many happy returns to them, one and all. Now, before we get started, here's a very quick reminder of our question of the day. Yes, I went to see John Wick 4 last night. There's only been one John Wick, Mr. Keanu Reeves, but there have been several. Half a dozen, maybe? James Bonds. Who was the best? I know. Let me just tell you this. My middle name is Sean. You can probably tell which way I'm leaning on that. Right, let's get this show started, shall we? Right, if you were here yesterday, you will recall that our friend Steve Williamson mentioned a new Kinshofer film that my son Fred and I shot during our trip to ConExpo. I promised I'd share that film with you today, and as always, I am a man of my word. So here goes.
Michael Munoz, Territory Sales Manager for the Western United States. Just based on the turnout, the amount of people, the interest that's been generated, it's been absolutely fantastic. I think people have kind of been eagerly anticipating, waiting to get out. Unfortunately, was not able to attend BAMA, but there was not as many as Canadians and Americans that showed up, and I think that we're kind of holding out for this Con Expo. That pent-up aggression, people ready to spend money and see what's being offered as new products in the market. With the whole lockdowns, I think it just kind of encompasses everything generally. Business as well too. You know, financially, a number of businesses, a number of industries were affected. And it seems like that need is still there. Owners, operators, dealers, they're eager to get out there. The money's there, they're ready to spend POs just based on the amount of interest and orders that we've already taken. And we don't still even have a firm number yet until, you know, the end of the expo when we run those numbers, but it has been absolutely fantastic. I was optimistic and hoping and seeing a large amount of people being drawn to this Con Expo, and I think that has happened. The numbers and the amount of conversations that we have, the amount of leads, the amount of literature that's been given out has been phenomenal. So we're extremely excited. People recognize that Kinshofer is a one-stop shop, a solution provider to the customer. And we cover such an extensive breadth of products that I don't think that there's anybody else out there that can provide what we can provide to a dealer and the customer.
So who's pronouncing it right? Is it Kinshofer or is it Kinshofer? I don't know. Ed, Steve, if you'd like to share some enlightenment on that. But yeah, Michael was an absolute star. And in typical American fashion, he brought the passion. Really is very, very easy to interview people that believe in what they're saying. Thanks as always to the team at Kinshofer for making that film possible. And I'm hoping you saw both Ed and Steve lurking in the background. Not their camera hoggers at all, but yeah, they were in the background right there. Right, let's have some of this, shall we? If I said to you there was a machine at Con Expo with the nickname The Beast, you'd probably imagine a massive dozer or an excavator. Well, the Beast is neither of those things. In fact, it's actually quite small. But don't be fooled by its compact dimensions, because the Beast really does pack a punch.
Good morning. I'm Ryan Anderson, Product Marketing Manager for New Holland Construction here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada for Con Expo 2023. One of the biggest products that we've launched over the last 10 or 12 months here has been the new C362, the largest compact track loader that New Holland has built to date and one of the strongest in the industries. This is going to be a unique frame for us. We call it the extra large frame. And of course, as you can tell, it is an extra large machine. The C362 is powered by an FPT 114 horsepower engine, and as well as an outstanding suite of performance. Again, the 362, it's a 6,200 pound rated operating capacity machine at 50% of tipping load. But outside of that, the front end of the machine is capable of over 12,400 pounds of bucket breakout force. Again, this is one of the strongest machines on the market. On top of that, not only is it an outstanding lift and carry machine, but we've designed specifically for harsh applications like mulching, forestry, and land management. Hence the reason why we have some outstanding auxiliary hydraulic performance on this machine. About 40 to 41 gallon a minute at 4,100 PSI. Theoretically speaking, you can put out roughly 99 horsepower out of the auxiliary hydraulics alone. Perfect for a wide variety of mulching, rotary style, drum style head attachments, and be able to offer certainly plenty enough performance to complete the task out there. And again, we're very excited. We're coming to the tail end of the first 10, 12 months of the launch of the 362, and it's been extremely popular out there in the market, getting a lot of attention, and hence the reason why we came out with a custom paint job for Con Expo this year to really highlight, you know, the aggressiveness and the beast mode of the C362.
Was he looking at me when he was talking about the extra large frame? Felt like he was. Just on that subject, largest machine New Holland has built, says Al Grierson. Good morning, Al, by the way. It's the Case Minotaur. Does look a lot like it, doesn't it? And it is the same company at the end of the day. It is CNH, obviously, as you say. You never see many of those in the UK. No, you certainly don't. Let's have a look. Gary Muirhead says, all machines in gloss black look really cool. machines in matte black look even cooler, in my opinion. Now, don't forget, if you are late to the show, we have an Allu model to give away. Perfect for hanging on your model excavator. I'm not entirely sure what size class it fits. This apparently is a Transformer DN13-7 screener crusher, and it is made by a previous guest on this show, Mr. Gaz Evans of Gaz Evans Models. Can you see that? No, you can't, but take my word for it. It's made by Gaz Evans. It's up for grabs. If you'd like to get your hands on one of those, just type the word Allu into the chat. You can see how it's spelt along the bottom of the screen there, ALLU, and we'll be drawing that at the end of the show. Now, some of this. We have an absolute belter of a film to play out our show today, but first we're heading back to the Las Vegas Convention Center once again, and we're doing so in the company of a company called Thunder Creek. So you know how here in the UK a dirty old van rocks up with an equally dirty can of engine oil, and then another equally dirty van arrives with some top-up AdBlue. Well, they don't do things like that in America. They do them just a bit differently.
Hey guys, Aaron with Thunder Creek Equipment. We are here, Con Expo 2023. We're here to talk to you about all the mobile fuel and service needs that your company has. Kyle Barton, Thunder Creek, Territory Sales Manager. I cover Illinois, I cover Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, Michigan, and Ohio. So this is our service and lube trailer. We call it the SLT. This is a trailer that is going to be primarily used by our customers for preventive maintenance. We can put several different oils, setups, depending on what the customer needs. Engine oil, hydraulic oil, gear oil, anything you want to use to keep your equipment up and running. We also have air compressors. We can put generators on the equipment as well. So this particular one here also has coolant. So really we can set up the SLT to cater to your business and what your business requires. Most of our customers are taking this to the job site and they're trying to service as much equipment as they can. Most customers are changing engine oil more than they're changing hydraulic oil. So most of our SLTs are going to be set up with more engine oil than the hydraulic end of things. But again, that's up to the customer and how they want to set it up. We have dealers that stock them, but we also will make them custom. Most of our stocked units are going to come with 4 oils. They're going to come with 230 gallons of reclaim to put the used oil in. But again, if a customer says, no, that's not what I want, I would rather have 115 of reclaim and I would rather have 55 gallons of this or that. We can do it however they want to do it. Most of them on the SLT side, the service and lube trailer side, are customized. This is still the service and lube trailer. This is our side opening that has our pneumatic grease system. This is a neat system because you can buy your barrel and it's going to last a long time versus using grease guns, changing all the time. It's a neat system. This goes right into the air compressor system, right into the back, into the grease reel, and off you go. On the opposite side of our grease system, our air compressor, which also could be an air compressor generation combination, which this one is, slides right out on a toggle switch, real easy. This is so that this component can breathe. This runs everything on the trailer, so it's going to be running when you're using it, and it's just a nice way to hide it away as you're going down the highway, but it needs to come out to breathe when you're using the equipment. So you can access the engine, you can change the oil on the gas engine that controls the generator and the air compressor, and maintain it a lot easier slid out from the trailer.
Yeah, weirdly, of all the fantastic plant we saw on display at ConExpo 2023, the various trailers from Thunder Creek were among the most memorable bits of kit I saw there. Absolutely fantastic. We will have more from them in the coming weeks. But Gary Muirhead says, can you imagine that being on site? Everyone will be serving their cars and vans with free oil. Maybe that's why it's on a trailer. Maybe it doesn't hang around on site. But isn't that a sad indictment on the fact that a vehicle like that is there to make the machines absolutely purr, make sure they're fully maintained and everything else, probably will never catch on in this country because we have some tea leaves amongst us. There you are. Right. Okay. One of those vehicles actually carries fuel, which is appropriate because this.
Since the finance bill came into effect in April, the construction industry has seen a surge of fuel thefts. The rising cost of living has placed an additional risk of theft by employees and contractors, as well as opportunistic thieves. By using diesel dye and placing warnings of its use, you are sending a clear message that this is your fuel.
I am not in any way a petrolhead. I don't even own a car. I just borrow my wife's. I have no interest in Formula One or MotoGP. And yet, for some reason, my path seems to cross with motorsport on a pretty regular basis. You will recall that I took a trip to the Nürburgring with the fine folks at Volvo late last year. While I was at ConExpo on the TopCon stand, I interviewed a racing driver, and we'll be bringing that to you very, very soon. And now we're off to the Spa circuit in the company of those fine folks at Wirtgen. But before we go, let me just remind you, type the word Allu into the chat. The film I'm about to play you is 3 minutes and 40 seconds long, which means you've now got exactly 4 minutes to enter for your chance to win an exclusive, let me get it there you are, an exclusive Allu model of, what was it called again? A Transformer DN13-17. Type the word Allu into the chat. You can see the spelling across the bottom of the screen there. Right, let's go to Spa.
Along with Monte Carlo, Monza and Silverstone, the legendary Spa-Francorchamps circuit is one of the 4 top-flight motor racing circuits where the Formula One World Championship was launched in 1950. In the midst of the Ardennes Mountain in Belgium, steep ascents and descents of up to 20% are a real challenge for the racing drivers, and consequently also for the asphalt paving process. Jarno Savelli, who is the CEO and founder of Dromo Circuit Design and responsible for this rehabilitation project, certainly sees things this way, saying,
the fact that the geometry
is not typical of a racetrack. It is more like that of normal roads, making it a very demanding project for all concerned. The old surface course is to be removed from Eau Rouge in the valley as far as Formula One's famous Rédillon banked corner at the top, and a new surface course paved. The total amount of track requiring rehabilitation runs to 1,407 meters. The composition of the asphalt material is critical here, and its formulation is a well-kept secret. Dromo developed it specifically for Spa-Francorchamps, codenaming it Le Noir. The paving material is produced in a Benninghoven TBA 4000 asphalt mixing plant. The TBA 4000 is an all-rounder, which meets the most stringent international quality and production standards. The Belgian company Baudarvet was commissioned to carry out the work. A Wirtgen W220 I-type cold milling machine has already removed the surface course cleanly. The surface course will be paved by 3 Vögele Super 1800-3i pavers, employing the proven hot-on-hot method. Use of Vitos Paving Doku ensures that all the relevant paving parameters are documented digitally with accurate positioning. The road scan system measures the temperature of the asphalt pavement behind the screed across its full width throughout the entire paving process. The measuring results can be shown directly on the paver's display, and if the job site temp app is used, on the job site too.
Vitos vraiment un bon système.
Vitos Paving Doku is ideal for monitoring temperature directly on site, says Sébastien D'Entrefos, construction manager at Baudarvet. The Bordavé team used Wirtgen Group machines and technology to overcome every challenge it faced. Dromo was particularly impressed by the support provided by the experts at Wirtgen Group.
The support from the technician.
The backup from the technical team was very good and extremely important. Racing drivers and spectators alike will certainly appreciate the flawless result. Gianno Taffelli, CEO and founder of Dromo Circuit Design.
Cracking film, right? And we now have both Wirtgen and Volvo helping to improve racing circuits across Europe. I'm starting to think I may have been a bit premature in my judgment of motorsport. What about the voiceover on that? How do you get a voice like that? Does he talk like that all the time? And I'd like to think that around about 14 years old, that guy that did the voiceover there went into a careers evening at his school and he said, "Good evening. I'd like to talk about a career." And they said, "We've got just the job for you. You will do corporate video voiceovers." Right, it is time to find out who has won our exclusive Allu model. When I can find the right thing to bring up on the screen, there is our giveaway there. We've only got 5 entries. It's a little disappointing, people. People not want models these days. A bit of a shame because there's actually some more of these to come. I'm fudging just to see if anybody else comes in under the wire, but it doesn't look like they're going to. So let me fire up the Allu model giveaway and see who is our today's winner. Let's go. Kent Demolition. I'm going to take a wild stab and guess that is Mr. Paget himself down at Kent Demolition. Delighted you won with that one, Ken. Ken? What, delighted you won that one, Dave, assuming it is Dave. But thank you very much indeed for taking part. I already know your address because I've been to your premises, but I will check it with you after the show. But you are now the proud owner of a very fine Allu model. Congratulations. It will look very, very nice in that very, very nice little showroom that you've got down there. Incidentally, we talked about maintenance vehicles earlier on with Thunder Creek. A little known fact, or maybe it's a well-known fact, I don't know, but Kent Demolition now has a hydraulic hose repair arm as well, giving the folks at Pertec and Hydroquip a bit of a run for their money. Fair play to the team down at Kent Demolition. Now, let's have a spot of this, shall we?
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I'm going to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat. I'm starting to sound like that guy on the Wirtgen video, leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. If you can't stick around for that, please stay safe, look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Have a great day, and thanks for watching. But if you do have the time and the inclination, I'll see you after this for the crack. Morning, gang. How are we all today? Just going to say very quickly, John Wick 4. Go see it. Oh, it's a belter. Very, very good indeed. Well, I say it's very good indeed. If you're into John Wick style movies, I am, and it was great. Recommend it highly. Let's go back through the chat, see what everyone's up to today. Ken Hatcher was the first off the mark. I can now confirm that I shall be in Welsh Wales on the 6th of May. It's going to be a flying visit, and just while I'm here, I am going to mention the fact the plan originally, as I mentioned the other day, was to launch our brand new show, Construction Equipment News. Let me just turn that music down, it does sound a bit loud to me. Bear with me. That's better. Yeah, my original plan was to launch our brand new show, Construction Equipment News, on the 7th of May. 7th of April. Good God. 7th of April. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to have to put it back a week because I am down in Swansea and I'm working pretty much overnight, I guess. And there's no way I'm going to get back to a safe and secure Wi-Fi connection in time to do that. I could try to do it remotely, but I don't really want to. I don't want to risk the first episode of a brand new show to sketchy Wi-Fi. So I'm going to put it back a week. So we're going to launch on the 14th of April instead. Apologies for giving you false promises, but the thing I'm going to do down in Swansea is one that needs doing. I'll tell you more about it when it gets a bit closer, but yeah, it's one that I can't put off. Gary Muirhead is in the house as well. Good morning, Gary. Pleased you received your prize the other day. Spoke to you last night. Good to see that arrived safely. Who's next? Mark Whiting. Good morning, Mark. Good to have you back. I know you've been missing for a few days. And speaking of missing, here is a person that pops up and pops back out again. Mr. Al Grierson, all the way from Luxembourg. Morning, Al. Thank you for joining us. It is not World Al Grierson Day today, but he's here anyway. So there you are. Morning, all. Can't stay long. Got a medical at 10:15. We've missed him already. Morning, Steve. Anyway, and Ed Butler, his partner in crime, is here as well. Morning, Mark. And morning, all. He says, Al Grierson, despite the fact that he would end up paying £97,000 import duty to get that Allu model into Luxembourg, he entered anyway, but missed out, unfortunately. Maybe another time, Al. And there is our winning entry from our friends down at Kent Demolition. Delighted that they have won. Ken Hatcher missed out this time, but on the basis he won yesterday, I think he'll probably take that in good spirit. My question of the day, which was partly, as I say, inspired by last night's trip to the movies, was who was the best James Bond? Personally speaking, particularly given that I was named, or my middle name is stolen from him, I'm a Connery man all day long. I not only do I believe he was the best Bond, I also believe that probably 95% of the best Bond things were in Sean Connery time. Thunderball and Diamonds Are Forever and so on down the line. Although I do like Adele's Skyfall and a few others as well. But yeah, to me, Sean Connery is Bond, and that's why I liked Daniel Craig so much, because he was a bit of a throwback to that. Ken Hatcher is a Roger Moore man. I was going to say he was the least of the Bonds, but I don't actually believe that to be the case. Personally speaking, George Lazenby, pretty bad. I thought Timothy Dalton was pretty poor as well. I quite like Pierce Brosnan, but there you are. Tony Goddard is with us as well. Morning, Tony. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. Mr. Drew is back in the house. It's been interesting watching Nick Drew's output over the past few days. He visited the Allu stand, as did we. He also visited the Rockback stand, as did we. Our Rockback film actually comes out tomorrow. Be here or don't. It's entirely up to you. Question of the day. No question about it, says Gary Muirhead. Roger Moore, the best James Bond ever, and that's coming from a Scottish man. Can you not be excommunicated or ejected from Scotland for saying things like that? I always thought James, it was a bit too tongue-in-cheek for my liking. I quite like the more gritty end of the Bond franchise. I like Daniel Craig, says Al Grierson, probably because I love Layer Cake. Layer Cake was an absolutely brilliant movie, which he started before he became a global star. Yeah, absolutely. And Michael Gambon in Layer Cake is brilliant, absolutely brilliant. I'm trying to remember the name of the actress in it, who is also very easy on the eyes. Her name will come back to me, I'm sure. Let's have a look. Rattling through here. I think we have decided that the correct pronunciation of Kinshofer is, as I was saying it, Kinshofer, as Al Grierson has said, and not Kinshofer. Having said that, Michael Munoz wins hands down because he's got way more hair than I have. So I'm going with him, at least for now. Jim Turner's in the house. Morning, Jim. Thank you very much indeed for joining us. It is one of those really strange things with manufacturers. Obviously, the film there claimed that this was the Beast was the largest machine that New Holland has ever built. They don't actually build it, as correctly pointed out there. But do excuse me rustling, I'm just wrapping up this Allu model. Probably driving the microphone mad, that is. Yeah, you have to scratch under the surface with these things. As Ken Hatcher says, you don't see many of those in the UK. You don't, and I don't know why, because in the right application, absolutely fantastic. Let's have a look. Colour schemes. All machines in gloss black look really cool. True. Hot in the sun, though, says Ken Hatcher. Also true. Tony Goddard, unfortunately, you missed out on the Allu model, but I do have... I think I've got one more to give away, so watch this space. Excuse me. What the hell that is. Question of the day. Jim Turner and I are of one mind. Sean Connery, then Daniel Craig, and then probably Piers Brosnan. I thought George Lazenby was good. I didn't, and ought to have been Bond a few more times. Yeah, he got the original Casino Royale, wasn't it? George Lazenby got one shot at it, and that was his lot. Mark Whiting entered our competition and missed out today, but there is more to come, as I've already said. So yeah, oh, excuse me. This is a theme that comes up and more than once. Can you imagine that Thunder Creek trailer being on site? Everyone would be serving their cars and vans with free oil. I believe you to be absolutely correct. Jim Turner says there's a few old bags from yesterday that would think all their Christmases had come at once if they had that Thunder Creek trailer. Yes, they would. But I have to say, there were a couple of things that came out of that. I thought the way in which they were doing that, and obviously I think it's if you've got a... Bearing in mind the American market, so American, particularly rental companies and contractors, they are working over very large areas. So having that trailer be able to go from place to place to place to take care of all the oiling and greasing needs, fantastic idea. Would it catch on here? No, because some bugger would nick it. Isn't that a sad indictment, eh? Nick Drew has thrown his hat into the James Bond ring, and he is going with the iconic Sean Connery, the original and the best. Agreed. Roger Moore was a bit too comedy Bond for me. Agreed again. Don't know where I dredge these questions from, but it's interesting to see everybody's take. I don't know what that link is. I would follow it carefully. But Kashmiri JCB operator has left us a link. I don't know quite where that leads. I'm not going to click on it. Unfortunately, it's the way of the world these days. Thieves on site are becoming more and more, with the cost of living. People are becoming more light-fingered. It starts with a wee drum of diesel. Remember the two guys on the scooter with the still saw? I do remember that very well indeed. I don't know if anybody from here actually hopped over to Instagram yesterday. I spent more than an hour. God, I love the sound of my own voice. I spent more than an hour talking mainly about the CMA investigation into bid rigging and collusion and price fixing and what have you here in the UK demolition industry. And I reported the facts as they are. 10 companies fined almost £60 million, and the various contracts to which they were allied. But then I took a bit of a step back, and I wondered to myself and to the watching millions, hundreds, precisely what the cause of that collusion was. On the face of it, and this may be the whole thing summed up in one neat package, on the face of it, they may just be greedy buggers who have tried to line their pockets to a huge degree at clients' expense, to walk away with big brown envelopes stuffed full of cash that they don't need to tell anyone about. That might be the case. But what if it's not? What if it's not? What if this is merely a result of the way in which the industry now works? Give you an example, and I mentioned this yesterday. If I went to my local supermarket and stole a loaf of bread, I'm not rolling in cash, but I've got a few quid. I've nicked a loaf of bread. I deserve to face the full force of the law. If, however, an a single mother who was really struggling to pay bills, having to choose on whether she heated her home for her children or whether she ate that night. She's decided to steal a loaf of bread. I would like to think that the judiciary in the UK would take a more lenient approach because of the extenuating circumstances. Are there extenuating circumstances with this collusion thing? I don't know the answer to that. But we now operate in an industry where, one of the companies involved actually told me this years ago that they had invested more than £1 million in man hours and resources to get themselves on a framework, a demolition framework, that actually offered no guarantee of work. As it turns out, they did okay out of it. They more than earned their money back. But you've got all of that to deal with. So you've got to invest £1 million to get on a framework in the first place. Now, not all work goes through a framework, but you think about all the obstacles that a demolition company has to overcome now. They have to have training of everyone updated on it often feels like a daily basis. You have got to jump through legislative and regulatory hoops all the live long day. You have got clients that tell you one thing and then want you to do another. They are constantly shifting the goalposts. You also got this multi-tiered approach. So, rather than me deciding this afternoon, I'm going to build myself a new website and then building a new website. The way that construction works is I'll have the idea, I'll give it to somebody else who will give it to somebody else, who will give it to somebody else, who will do a little bit of it before passing it on to somebody else. That's how construction works. So yes, if these people have been found with their hand in the till, fine. If you can't do the time, don't do the crime, is my easy take on that. But I would like to think that somebody will take a closer look at all of that, to look at the background to it. Why did it happen? Why did it happen? I don't necessarily buy into this whole thing that we have with other forms of crime, where you have people claiming that they were inspired to kill by Iron Maiden music or a video game or whatever it might be. I don't buy into all of that. But there are circumstances, when you look at that there is a real chicken or egg. Poverty and alcohol and drug abuse seem to go hand in hand. There are those that will claim, well, if you're that poor, how can you afford drugs and alcohol? But there are also those that say the reason they are on drugs and alcohol is because their life is so piss poor. I would like to think that ultimately, much the same as with health and safety, when all of the dust settles on the CMA thing, I'd like the industry to take a big step backwards and have a proper look at exactly not just what was done, but why it was done and how it was done, and hopefully move forward as a result of that. What does this say? They need to come and tar my street. Hey, listen, I'll have a word with the fine folks over at Wirtgen, see what I can do. Steve Williamson unfortunately missed out before heading off for his medical. You coming to the Welsh Con Expo? No, I'm not. I'm going. Listen, we're among friends here. I'm actually going to interview for a podcast. I'm going to interview the sister of one of the guys that was killed in the Didcot disaster back in February 2016. She and I have been in touch for quite some time. It's one that I feel utterly unequipped to deal with. I talk about diggers and John Wick movies and stuff like that. But somebody somewhere has got to give them a voice. And I'm doing it, I guess I'm doing it partly out of guilt as well. Ever since I started speaking about the whole Didcot disaster, I've been very conscious of the fact that I've been talking about the fact that the 4 guys that were killed there were somebody's son, somebody's husband, somebody's father. But they were also somebody's brother in many cases. And as I say, the lady in question, Natalie Huxtable, she has been she's commented on this show before. She and I have been in contact for a while now, and she has actually agreed. It's going to be a real emotional thing. Because the investigation is ongoing, at least I hope it is ongoing and not just stalled. Because that is ongoing, I can't and I won't get into the legalities of who was responsible, who did what, who said what, and all that. So this is really just going to talk to Natalie about her brother Chris, and yeah, I mean, his loss has really, really impacted upon her. So yes, I'm travelling to Swansea to meet up with her. So no, I'm not going to the Welsh Con Expo, whatever the hell that is. Al Grierson says it's the Easter holidays, just some smaller admin stuff to do. It's the Easter holidays now, is it? Okay. Shame it's a flying visit to Swansea. I'd say pop by for the crack and a cuppa. Ed, it will be a flying visit. But let me know whereabouts in the world you are, and listen, if there's a cuppa in it, I may well swing by anyway. Kent Demolition, thanks for the model mark and for the hydraulic plug. Not a problem at all. I will say it again. Kent Demolition, fantastic little family firm, tucked down in the wilds of Kent, the Garden of England, and a really nice bunch of people down there as well. So if you need a bit of demolition doing in Kent, or if you need your hydraulic hoses fitted, Kent Demolition. Just saying. Daniel Craic is my personal favourite, much darker and grittier Bond yet, which is precisely why I love the original. And there was something about Sean Connery, just cool. Jim Turner, there's plenty of people that stand up in court, get charged and fined and plead poverty, only play a few quid a week. It's because this is because in paper they haven't got a pot to piss in, but in reality they have more spare cash than us working folk. That's because their money isn't declarable. Yep, absolutely right. And listen, don't feel for a moment that I'm having the wall pulled over my eyes here. I am a fan of Demolition. I'm a fan of many of the companies that have been caught up in this collusion probe. I'm disappointed and saddened by the fact that some of the companies I admire the most are caught up in that. I'm just saying, what if there are actually extenuating circumstances? And I'm not saying that forgives anything that they've done. I'm not condoning the unlawful behaviour. I'm not condoning it one bit. But I would liken it to health and safety. Where somebody has had an accident, be it a slip, trip, fall, or whatever it might be, even a fatality. Actually just saying somebody fell off a building and died, that's part of it. But if the industry is to move forward, the industry needs to know why and how a person ended up falling off a roof. And that's where I'm comparing the CMA and the HSE. The HSE is required to investigate not just the fact that it happened, but why it happened and how it happened and the extenuating circumstances. Should the person have been on the roof in the first place? Was the job managed properly? Was the person that fell off properly trained? Was the employer negligent? Was there guardrails in place, and so on down the line? I would like to think that we will get exactly the same thing with the CMA. Let's have the full facts. Let's find out exactly not just what happened, but how and why it happened. Apparently, I'm led to believe that there will be a full publication of the CMA report sometime in the next couple of weeks. I don't know if that's the case, but I've been led to believe that is the case. And it's astonishing the level they've gone back. Apparently, I think the companies that were caught up in all of that were expected to hand over details of all their tender submissions over a 10-year period. You think about some of those companies like, for example, an Erith, who are probably live, literally as we speak, they're probably live on 60, 70, 80 different demolition projects. That's right now. How many projects would they have been active in and tendered for? I mean, obviously they didn't win all of them, but how many would they have tendered for over a 10-year period? 10,000? 20,000? Don't know. So, as I always do, I was complaining about the fact that it took 4 years from the point that the investigation began to the point that it was concluded. But you would imagine, bearing in mind Keltbray, Erith, McGee, DSM, Squibb Group, some of the biggest names in the demolition business, I would imagine there were literally tens, if not hundreds of thousands of tender documents to go through there before they presented their findings. As I say, that was it. And listen, if you'd like to hear more about what I said yesterday, I can turn that thing off now because the competition is over and done with, isn't it? If you'd like to find out more about what I said, just go over to Instagram.com/demolition_news. You can see yesterday's Talk Tuesday episode in its entirety. It was a busy old chat. Always pleased to go and do that. We have hundreds of people watching over there for reasons I don't fully understand, but we had a proper old chat. And one of the guys from Canada who was on the show yesterday, I'm booked to have a Zoom call with him on Thursday because he wants to pick my brains about expanding grout. Anyone know what expanding grout is? Alternative to explosives, small scale. So you basically drill a hole, you pack this stuff in, it expands, and it breaks concrete and breaks rock as well, used in quarries but also in demolition as well. This is a Canadian provider, and I think he's looking for the opportunity to bring his product to the UK and to Europe. Watch this space. I'm doing that on Thursday. So yes, I think that will probably do us. Where are we? Yeah, nearly 50 minutes. That's plenty of time for you people to have listened to me groaning on about John Wick and James Bond. Not what you signed up for at all, is it? I'll be back here again tomorrow, 10 a.m. as always. Don't forget, you can leave us a voicemail message now at speakpipe.com/demolition news. Love to hear from you. I'm going to be starting to put that on all our emails and all our social media posts, because I'm very, very keen that this should not be a one-way street. I don't want to talk at you, I'd like to talk with you. So if you've got any comments, questions, queries, criticisms, whatever it might be, just hit us up on speakpipe.com/demolition news. Leave us a message up to 90 seconds and we'll do what we can. The demo phones have been caught out doing what many crowds have done for years, and they normally fix it face to face. Yep, absolutely. Give Natalie and her family our thoughts and prayers, please, Mark. Gary, I'll be delighted to do that. As I say, I'm ill prepared for it, and I know as a direct result of losing her big brother, Natalie has suffered a great deal of anxiety issues and what have you. So it's going to be a tough one. It's going to be a tough interview, but I think it's one that needs doing. And if nobody else is going to do it, yeah, I guess that better be me, hadn't it? But now with email and text, there's a paper trail, so to speak. Burner phones required, I think. I would imagine there are a few burner phones out there in the world anyway. But yeah, there is a paper trail. There absolutely is a paper trail. I mentioned this yesterday on this show, and I mentioned it again on the Instagram Live, the Talk Tuesday that I did yesterday. This is an opportunity for demolition in general, and for the National Federation of Demolition Contractors in more specifically, to start afresh, to sweep it all clean. I think it's too late now for there to be any retrospective punishment or penalty from the NFDC on the 10 of its members that were caught up in all of that. I think that ship has sailed, but what there is an opportunity to do now is to draw a line in the sand and say, right, henceforth we are going to do things in a new and different and better way. And I would like to think that the fact that they've got a new president now with his feet under the desk, John Lynch, and a new CEO coming in June, Duncan Riddell, now is a perfect opportunity to do precisely that. Out with the old and in with the new, and hopefully move things forward. I'd like to see it, really would like to see it. Right, people, go and have yourselves a good day. Don't forget, you can leave us a message. I'm going to say it one last time, speakpipe.com/demolition news. We'd love to hear from you, whatever it is. You can talk about burner phones, or John Wick, or James Bond, or maintenance vehicles, or who makes what machine, listen. You're among friends here. Talk about what you like. Until tomorrow, everybody have a fantastic day, and I'll see you all very, very soon. All the best.